Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be giving you my first impressions on the kind of DIY Elmer's Glue peel off base coat. I've been really looking for a good peel off base coat for myself lately because I do so much swatching, and I see that some of these girls that swatch a lot use peel off base coats, that way that they're not de-strengthening their nails so much with so much acetone. So I actually picked up, I saw that one of the swatchers, I think is it Lagrima, on Instagram, she talks about using this one, this yellow, it's kind of this yellow stopper, and you can pick it up at Sally Beauty Supply. This giant bottle is like $1 more than the smaller one, so that's why I have the giant one. And it actually does make your nails look kind of purple instead of yellow, so it kind of counteracts that. But what it does, for me, it doesn't let me peel off my nail polish swatch, really. I think what it is because it doesn't dry. Like, it must be like a really poor drying base coat, because what it does is if I use this and then swatch over top of it, I can kind of just like smush the polish off without even having to use any acetone. So maybe that's why she likes this one. I don't really know. I really do want to play with it more, because as you see I have a ton of it. But it didn't really give me that whole, like, you can actually like peel it right off. I gave it more waiting time. You know, I kind of tried it a few different ways and I couldn't really get the whole peel off things. So today I did want to go ahead and do kind of like a little walkthrough with you of my first impressions of the Elmer's Glue peel off nail polish base coat, because some people have said it's just basically the same as getting one of these other ones and it works just as well. So I had Elmer's Glue at home. I had an empty bottle of polish at home, so I decided to give it a try for myself, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how it works for me as I do it. So basically, I found an old bottle of base coat, and you just want to empty the whole thing out, and you kind of wash it out with acetone. And then so you get it all rinsed out, and then you just, I mean, of course you open the lid up, and then you take your Elmer's Glue and you just pour it in there. And some people said you do need to dilute it with water. Other people said you don't even need to at all. So I wasn't really quite sure which way to go, so I just decided not to dilute it and see how that goes for me. Oh, and by the way, I totally forgot to tell you, this bright purple lippy I'm wearing today is that one I picked up. It's from the Rebel Bloom collection, and it's called Lilac Flush. So that's that there, and it is really creamy, and it actually is quite pigmented for the brand. So I actually liked it. It's kind of outrageous, and that's the look I was going for today. So anyway, so once you've got it in here, you want it, basically, you're just going to be applying it just like you would your base coat. One thing that I did notice here as I'm getting ready to try it on is that having it in Elmer's Glue did make the brush like really stiff. So it doesn't like, it's not gonna swipe softly and subtly onto my nail. And that's probably just because I have glue in it instead. So anyway, hopefully it'll work just the same. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a try right now. Okay, so here we are applying our first coat of the Elmer's Glue. I did apply OPI Strengthening Base Coat first before I tried out this Elmer's Glue, just so you know there's another layer under there. And then I'm going in with Julie G Mermaid's Tail for no particular reason, just because it was sitting next to me. This is one coat over the Elmer's Glue. And just the way that I was able to loosen up that brush that was in the glue, how it was all stiff, I just kind of wiggled it and just separated the bristles for a little while until it was a lot more pliable. And now we're going to do a top coat. I'm using just Rimmel Salon Pro top coat. Alright, and then I'm going to go in here with my cuticle pusher and kind of wiggle free one edge, so we can start to see if it will peel off for us. As you can see, I'm not quite able to get every little bit off there. Some of it just didn't really want to come up, so maybe it wasn't quite on the Elmer's Glue, or just because it was too close to an edge, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it actually did a pretty fine job. There's more edge that I'm not able to get. Still, I'm not really getting this up as easily as I see some swatchers do with their nail art and their swatches, how they just basically pull off the whole layer undestroyed. I'm not quite able here, as you can see, to get a clean peel. And by the way, that's the OPI base coat coming off right there. That's not my natural nail, so don't be worried. That's just that lower base coat that also grabbed onto the Elmer's glue and pulled off. And I'm just showing you here that that's what that is. And then I'm going in with just a little bit of acetone and a Q-tip and just grabbing the rest of that off of there. And so now what I'm going to show you is the American Classics Yellow Stopper that you can pick up at Sally Beauty that I was referring to in the video. I'm going to do first impressions of how that one's going to work as well. It's actually not quite a first impressions. I would say it's probably third impressions because I had tried it a few times. This is Sally Hansen's Somber Bliss, also for no particular reason, 2 coats of that and then a top coat. So yeah, like I said, it's not first impressions, but I did want to film it and show it to you at the same time since I did refer to both methods in the introduction. And then same thing, I waited for it to dry, and then I'm going in to kind of pry it up. As you're going to see, it's going to smush off my nail a lot more easily, and I can't go in to actually peel it off because it's so, it's not really that it's wet, it's just so, I don't know what to describe it. It's just so much more movable, and it's almost like it thinned it out so much so that if you try to peel it off, it just breaks in your hand. So my favorite way for removing it is just to use the cuticle pusher all the way across the nail. So as you can see, if you're just doing it in that way, it works pretty much the same as the other one. See, I'm trying to peel it off and it just doesn't quite want to come off. So I went in with a little bit of acetone to clean it up at the end. So I think that my final impressions on this are that I think it does actually work rather well. I didn't like the way that the brush is kind of rough. Like, it's not rough on the nail, it just doesn't apply smoothly on the nail. But if you can get a somewhat smooth application of your glue, I feel like it doesn't change the appearance of the nail polish in any way. Yeah, I thought it was just fine. And if you're not doing like 100 swatches in a day, well, that's a little much, but you know, 20 to 30 swatches in a day, this one might be a really good option for you because as you saw from the video, I really was able to get the majority of the polish off in the peel. There was still a little bit left around the nail, but that's maybe just because I couldn't get quite to the edge of my cuticle with my cuticle pusher or you know what. So I did end up having to use a little bit of acetone to get it completely off. But a little bit of acetone is better than having to soak your whole nail in acetone for a while to get your polish off. So I think that this is actually a really good option if you're not swatching all day long, you know, on whatever days you're doing swatches like I do. So on the other side of it, I think if you are going to sit down and have a Swatchfest and swatch 20 to 30 polishes, I don't necessarily think it's quite the right option yet. I don't think it works for that for me because if you're gonna sit down and do a whole bunch, you want to go real fast. And the Elmer's glue, it was starting to dry on my first finger by the time I did my last finger, but there's still a little bit of waiting time in there. And then when you go to remove it, it takes longer to remove it than to just swat, you know, because when you're doing swatches one after another, they're not hard to remove because they haven't had a long time to stick. So it's just so much faster to just put a cotton swab on there and just, and then your polish is off. So those are kind of the two opinions that I have about it. If you're just, like I said, like you like to wear at least like one different color a day, I think that this is a really good option because it really is not that much more hassle or anything, and then the removal process is much easier. So those are my 2 cents. That was my first impression. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I was really excited to give this a try, and then I thought, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and include my impressions with my viewers, because maybe some of you are having the same thoughts that I am about these peel off base coats. So anyway, thanks for stopping by today. I hope that you did enjoy, and I will see you back tomorrow. Bye!